Hello.
Hello, what day is it?
Gosh, what day is it?
Oh my gosh. So yeah, we're waiting on Melissa, but I'll go ahead and introduce you. This is Jane Dagmi. She's one of my favorite people. She's the editor, very talented editor, Designers Today, a national trade magazine. This is their latest cover done by Kelly Ellis and who's the collaboration?
Walker Lewis.
Walker Lewis. Yeah. So very cool. I haven't gotten mine yet, but I'm super excited. I know it's in the mail. It's coming. So I'm not even worried about it. I'm still like cracking open last issue. So
Yeah, well, I know people have been talking about it on social, so I know it's gotten to Atlanta.
yeah.
When it will get to Philly. So
Yeah. I'm sure it'll be soon.
yeah.
So how are you doing? I know that you're like doing
Oh,
IGTV and shooting videos and
sorry about that.
that's okay. I was just asking what you've been up to. I've seen you on Instagram, just posting videos and discussing what's going on.
Yeah, let's see. Planning the next issue,
Mhm.
which will come out. It's the May-June issue. So planning our virtual designer experience, which is on May 20th. So that's our first virtual conference. Keeping up with podcasts, trying to do things like this and keep up with friends and
Yeah.
watching other people, drink their cocktails online. And it's like,
I know there's so much information to take in, but I've really enjoyed catching up with people and seeing everybody's backyard and
oh yeah.
just staying in touch. Have you been in touch with a lot of friends and family, or are you mostly just working around the clock?
Yes and yes. I mean, if I'm not on the phone, I'm FaceTiming. I'm spending very little time driving. So
Yeah.
I'm either at my desk, cooking dinner, on the phone, or sleeping. Those are like my activities. Maybe some walking. So where are you? Are you at home now?
I'm at home. Yeah, I'm in my dining room. I like to work where I can see my front door. I've been so focused on our new showroom and office that I was like, we bought our house last May and I haven't really made my home office be a priority because I'm normally like out in the world moving around and stuff. And so anyway, kind of temporarily, I'm just working out in my dining room, but I really enjoy it because I have, jazz on the TV and like just a big open space. As long as it's clean, I find that if it's not clean, that I'm like really distracted. So I get up every morning and like tidy everything so my eye doesn't like wander around the living room, like
Right.
analyzing things, So yeah, just cutting down on distractions. And I feel like Facebook was like fun for the first month of quarantine, and now it's like turned into some weird like political thing, and I'm like trying to kind of stay off of that now and focus more on Instagram and just connecting with people directly. We just signed an NFL player yesterday.
Ooh, an Eagles person?
Yes.
An Eagles? Mm-hmm.
Yep. Our second Eagle. So it's just
was that something that had been in the works, or was it a cold call, or what was it?
no, I mean, it's a relationship that I've had for a while. And I'll talk more about who it is and stuff later. But, we did Malcolm Jenkins. He just went to the Saints. So I think the timing is kind of funny. But this player is on the defensive line and he's going to stay on the Eagles another year minimum. So we're doing his home in Old City, which is a really, really cool neighborhood. And he's got a beautiful wife who's really nice. And I met them actually with Marissa and Malcolm a couple years ago. So I've just stayed in touch, and they recently got married. And I don't know if you're familiar with Coyote Outdoor, but they reached out to me and said, hey, next like celebrity client you have, we'd like to offer them a free outdoor kitchen. So we're going to try to do that for them. What's that?
I've seen them at K-Biz.
Yeah. So my contact with John Richard's collection, Sarah Young, does the PR for them. And I've collaborated with John Richard a handful of times to do some video work and interviews and stuff. So, she reached out and made that offer. And I was like, I would love to add that. It's just a win-win,
Mm-hmm. And is there, so you said Old City, so they have outdoor space. So what most people wouldn't know is that we have the Philly connection, because I grew up and you live there now, and I'm always dying to get back. I mean, like, and it's changed so much, new neighborhoods that weren't there when I was growing up.
Yeah, I got online and I was kind of reading through articles, and I forget why, but I think I was just looking at like local things to do. I was probably on like Visit Philly, which is a really good website that's like a local, kind of everything captured information about Philly. And there was like something down at the bottom that said, like Center City's mostly great, but like parts of South Philly and West Philly are kind of rough. And I thought, hey, South Philly is great, I mean, but that article that may have been written like 5 or 6 years ago, and a lot has changed.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think I told you that I grew up. My father had a store in the Italian market, and
What
so
kind
at
of store was it?
Ninth and Christian, he had like he sold clothing, cheap clothing, and a lot of it was seconds, and he'd sew or patch them so that they'd be fine. It was like 2 shirts for $5, and we'd be like fast, just bagging up shirts all weekend long. We'd be out of there by noon. We'd go from like 8, 7:30 till noon, done.
That's so awesome.
Yeah, there
Did
was.
you ever go to the Fabric Row?
Well, yes, because he was friendly. Because my heritage or my Philadelphia family was always in the rag trade, so more on the clothing side. But they knew like the Herbie Wilk was a name that
Yeah.
always,
Yep. Be Wilk. Yep.
that was, yeah. So we would travel there because that's where your new place is.
Yeah. Yeah. That's where our new office is. And it's a great neighborhood. It's called Queen Village, but it's really close to Society Hill and kind of Old City too. Like those three neighborhoods kind of run into one another.
Just south of Bainbridge. I mean, it's like just
Yeah.
south.
It's like right. It's like Fitzwater, which is like 2 or 3 blocks south of Bainbridge and right on 4th Street. We're right next door to Fleischmann's, which is one of the biggest and oldest, very established fabric stores. And I've been in and out of my office. We still have brown paper up and stuff. But I was there taking some pics the other day, and there were people like standing in lines with masks to get into Fleischmann's. And I think because they're probably buying fabric masks,
Right.
I assume. So
Mhm.
anyway, that was interesting. And a couple of people have reached out to me on Instagram asking if I knew any fabric companies, or if I had any fabric that I could share for people making masks locally. And I have contacts on Fabric Row, so I put them in touch with some people there and just said, hey, they're looking for like donations of anything that you have like down in the basement, that
So you
you're
mean
not using.
sewers are looking for fabric so they can just keep sewing?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
I never had the patience to sew. Hi, Melissa.
Hey, Christina.
How are you?
I am busy, busy, busy.
I know. I think we all are. Thanks for making the time.
Melissa, you're on TV every night.
Yeah, whether I want to be or not.
With your schedule.
I'm about to shift that schedule because I took a poll and all my East Coasters are like, we want it earlier in the day. So I'll be shifting it to earlier in the day.
That's great. I've been really enjoying your new Facebook group and all the posting and the community there. It looks wonderful.
Yeah, it's going well. It's growing by leaps and bounds.
Have you guys been doing any podcasts? Or Jane, I know you mentioned listening to a lot of podcasts.
Well, now that I'm not commuting, it's a challenge. And then when I go out for a walk, which is like time to time to listen, I'm like, should I call somebody? Should I listen to music? Should I just not should I divorce myself from just listen to music?
Right.
Or just quiet. What about quiet?
I know. Yeah.
We drop a podcast every Thursday. So we just did one we dropped that today, and I've got one. You know what I'm finding? This was a good idea. And so when I call people on the phone, I basically say, you know what, can I just record? Because inevitably there are some good sound bites, and whether it's a full podcast or whether we piece together different things, I know what's on the record and off the record.
Right.
And it saves another, let's schedule blah, blah, blah.
Right.
Just let's just record. I have all my equipment here. So
yeah. And Melissa, on that note, why don't you tell us the name of your company and kind of what you've been doing lately?
The name of my company is Melissa Gault. It's melissagault.com, and it's Melissa Gault across every social media property there is.
What's your Facebook? Your Facebook page is?
The group is Interior Design Business Mastery.
And
Which
that's
is
a new
subject to
element,
change,
right?
depending on my mood. I've had a group page out there for at least 5 years, possibly longer, because I started the group page when I was pulled in to do Creative Live. I'm part of the Creative Live endeavor, which some designers know and some have found me through that. But then I changed the name to Prosper by Design, and I discovered something kind of interesting was that people thought I was about manifestation and law of attraction. And I was like, well, I certainly subscribe to those, but that's not what this group is for.
Right.
So I had to put a more defined name around it. So I did interior design business mastery. And that's what I have so far. And I may change it again because I was on a broadcast last week from somebody else who was talking about strategies with Facebook groups. And I'm like, okay, I'm taking room to make a few changes and shifts. I won't change it immediately though, because it's growing by leaps and bounds right now. I mean,
yeah, I mean, maybe the name it's just come to my attention, maybe that it's just got a new name and like some fresh content and some new photos or something, but it's been standing out to me on Facebook, and I've seen, a lot of your posts here lately.
Good. I'm thrilled to hear that. Facebook's finally cooperating with me. Each week we do a series around a single topic. So this week is social media. I probably could have done the whole series on Instagram, quite frankly. Last week was discovery call. Next week is going to be rates and fees. Week after that will be branding.
And how many are you doing a week?
I'm doing 3 a week, and then the 4th one is live coaching.
Right. I want to see one of those. What day of the week are those?
That's Fridays. This Friday it'll be late in the day. Next week it'll be earlier in the day. Okay. And I'm going to try, I've got Zoom, and I upgraded to Zoom webinar, which allows me to stream to Facebook. Yes. And allows me to pull somebody up there with me so that I can do them in a one-on-one face-to-face manner instead of having it all via questions in the chat. So that's what I'm shooting for tomorrow, apparently.
So let's talk about that. So I think, I recently upped my subscription for Zoom. Of course, I've done IG Live in the past. I know you guys are using a combination of the two. Is there any particular platform that you've enjoyed during this time or felt like the insights on your posts were better? And then, what have your challenges been in terms of reaching people via video, and where have your successes been?
Well, because I don't own my own business, I mean, I certainly treat it like it's, it is a business and I have a stake in it, but I do the things that I love doing, which means not looking at statistics. Jessica is like the guru of everything. And so, I say, this is what I want to do. What is the method? What's the solution for that? So she helps, and she also looks at numbers. For me, I'll spontaneously go and just do an Instagram Live, and every time I am about to do it, I get like fluttery, and it's just scary because I write, like writing, there's a method, I can backspace, I collect my thoughts, and I don't like.
It's not out there on the fly improv. Yeah.
So I'm just getting used to it. I want to speak well. I remember the first time I heard Melissa.
You do. It's just easy to overthink it, Jane. That's all.
But there's a certain eloquence, there's a certain rhythm. Like Melissa, when we did, and Christina, you were on that panel. Didn't we all do a Seria panel together?
We did. That's how Melissa and I met. Yep.
So I remember when Melissa got up there, and I probably heard you speak somewhere else because I wouldn't have said, "Oh, I'd love you to do this with us," right? And I just was thinking, gosh, she has such it's like a choreography of words, I don't have that.
I appreciate that.
I mean, have you taken, I've never done what are those public speaking, Toastmasters?
Mm-mm.
How did you just, how did you get so good at it?
What's funny is I was horrendous at drama in school, because it required me to memorize lines and parrot them back. And I bombed communication arts in college. I got straight C's because they wanted us to memorize and parrot back. And the minute I gave myself the freedom not to memorize and to simply know my stories, know my quotes, I was fine.
And that's something that I think social media has really created more of an opportunity for, whether it's people posting about, you know, healthy body image stuff, or just being real, having like no makeup Mondays, or just staying relatable. You know, when, you know, world famous celebrities post, you know, personal things, it makes you feel like you know them. I mean, I have people when I go to the main line or even at High Point, I have people walk up to me and they're like, hi. And I'm like, hi, who are you? Let's talk about it, you know? And I like that because I mean, I'm extroverted, so I have no trouble with anyone coming up to me and like starting a conversation. And, you know, I enjoy that part of my social media experience, that I can reach people and people feel like they know me, and, you know, they know what my dog looks like. And, you know, it's like I'm on a ride, and I want people to take that ride with me and not be confused about, you know, who I am, what I'm doing. And like, people reach out and ask me to collaborate, I think as a direct result of that.
Well, and that's different because I test as an introvert. Most people don't believe that when I tell them that, but I do. My Myers-Briggs is INFP. And
I remember mine.
oh, I took mine in the last year again because I couldn't remember my original.
I have to keep taking them and say, oh, then put a Post-it up.
When people would ask me, I would say PDXT. Just made something up. So yeah, I was
love
curious.
Myers-Briggs.
I was curious to see where I would test, and I love to write. I love to speak. I love to coach. I love to coach in small groups, even more because I have such a high level of energy force that it disseminates in a group sometimes better than one-on-one. So I have a lot of interesting things that I've got. You know, I'm looking at how can I virtual everything, what's interesting for me is when I'm live on a stage, I'm deriving energy from the crowd, but virtually I don't. And I am really wiped. I love the Facebook Lives, but I am wiped out afterwards.
Yeah.
Thoroughly wiped
Look
out.
at the comedians, you know, I mean, how they're getting into it, but there's no.
Yeah. There's no audience.
Right.
I mean, I'm almost amazed that somebody hasn't come up with even an audience that is imaginary, but their eyes would light up and they'd laugh at certain points just to get
That's a cool idea.
Going, you know?
Right. Cool idea.
At least with the chat, it's helpful, but I'm reading words. I'm bringing people to mind when I do that, but it's not like being live. Yeah. There's just no replacement for that.
It reinforces where you're coming from, I think, when you have people. And, you know, I think one thing that's good for that is hopping on a call like we are now with more than just one-on-one. You know, I think it's nice to have like a group conversation. Have you guys ever taken the DISC assessment? Are you a D? I feel like you're both Ds.
I'm an off the chart D.
I am too. What about you, Jane?
What is it?
Oh, I'm sorry. It's DISC assessment. Like I took it on Tony Robbins' website, but it's an assessment that a lot of high-level Fortune 500 companies use to evaluate candidates who are interviewing with companies. And it's really similar to Myers-Briggs, but it tells you if you are one of four types. First is dominant. Second, so that's the D. I is for influencer. And that meaning like have a big bubbly personality and you're probably good at sales and, you know, you can influence people. And then S is for steadiness. So some people are just steady, kind of like to be back of the house, like working under the radar, but they're real, you know, dependable, loyal, hardworking people. And then there's conscientious, which are very like detail oriented people. So that's DISC. And I've found through knowing mine, which is dominant, like what my challenges are with people. Like a lot of times I could be taken the wrong way just because I'm very direct, or, you know, certain personality types can be more sensitive to my personality types, and I can feel like less enthused by some personality types, you know, and then some personality types are just like meant for certain jobs. Like I mentioned, I is like great for sales. D is great for leadership usually. C is great for, like I found that my operations manager needs to be, you know, they can be combinations, like it'll be an SC or an IC. I have an IC right now. So she has a big personality, which is great for team building with anybody new who comes on the team. She helps create that feeling of cohesion and fun and personality. And then, but she's also very conscientious. So when she's ordering $10,000 sofa, she's not making mistakes. You know, she's double, triple checking her work and paying attention to those details. So I'm always fascinated about that kind of thing and always want to have what I call a PhD in people.
Is that something that people put on their resumes? Did you ask her to take the test? Did you
I
ask
have
her?
them. I have all my candidates take the test in advance, and then I just pay for their results. Like there's a $10 upgrade that I think is like very valuable because I want to know what kind of candidate's going to join my team and what their strengths and weaknesses are going to be and how they're going to complement me and the rest of the team. Yeah, and it's great for, you know, once you know there's only 4 personality types, you can kind of like read people. And I think it's great, you know, whether it's Myers-Briggs or DISC assessment or, you know, any of the other ones out there, it's just good to know even who clients are, you know, like,
Yeah.
you know how to deal with certain people different ways. Yeah. And you can elaborate on that, Melissa, if you want.
Yeah, I do use it with clients because it helps me know how to steer them and what they're doing and how to find out what their strengths are. Because I do believe in zone of genius. I really believe in bringing down my client in the first couple of weeks of working together to a place where they're very clear on what they are really good at and what they love.
Yeah.
And then the rest of everything gets delegated or deleted. Because there's no sense in catering to your weaknesses or catering to something that you don't enjoy just because you're good at it. Because we all have things we're good at, but we don't enjoy, and they're just energy zappers.
Yeah, that's an excellent point. And like as a business owner or somebody on a team, like if you know that your strengths are one thing and somebody else can like do something better than you can, then why not balance out and have a level playing field of like distributing the work among the company for whoever can be most efficient and effective at that.
Right, right. I mean, I think there's a lot of measuring tools like these personality tests
Sure.
that, you know, you try and get somebody to fill in. So I've got to take these tests and I'll get back to you on my letters. I am never a straight, I will not be a D, I, C, or S.
If I had to guess, I would say that you are a DI.
I'm not bubbly. I'm not.
I'd give her an SI. I'd give her an SI.
An SI?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Well, we'll see. I'm gonna.
Yeah, let's see.
We'll see the wager here. Melissa says an SI. What do you say, Christine?
I say DI.
Okay. Sometimes when I'm taking those tests, I wonder if it's skewing me to answer in a certain way. Like I try and be as authentic as possible when I'm answering, but sometimes because I'm a Libra, I'm like, well,
you could go either way, try to balance it out.
Thing, and I'm a Libra also, so it's constantly seeking that balance. And I know that if I take the test now, I could get different results.
Right.
I mean, I was intrigued by the level of D that I saw, and I was like, okay, you need to come off of that. It's a little too much. Because I wasn't DI, DS, DC. I was D. That was it.
Right.
It's like, we need to pull back.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I know you have to run, Jane, so we won't keep you, but thank you, ladies, so much for taking the time.
Thanks, Christina, for organizing it.
You got it. Have a great day, ladies.
All right.
Bye.